guys have been commenting in our last couple of videos asking about a potential Maxx Crosby or Myles Garrett trade. So I figured, give the people what they want. Let's talk about the possibility of the Falcons making a blockbuster home run trade for either the Raiders or Browns star pass rusher, as both teams appear to be in sell mode, with both teams trading away their star wide receiver. Now, full transparency, I'm just going to say right off the bat, the probability of this happening is very, very low. I do not see the Falcons trading. I don't see the Raiders or the Browns trading either player, but we do live in an age where expect the unexpected from the NFL. There are a lot of trades that we thought weren't going to happen, right? No one saw Tyreek Hill getting dealt. Deshaun Watson said he wouldn't go to the Browns until he did go to the Browns. So there are a lot of examples of players saying they're not going to do something, or teams saying they're not going to do something, like the Giants saying, we did not just extend Odell Beckham Jr. to trade him. And then they promptly traded him 1 week later. So let's start by talking about the player that I think has a slightly higher % chance of getting dealt, and that is Maxx Crosby from the Raiders, who has been one of the most dominant defensive players since entering the league in 2019. There are a lot of great traits to Crosby. One I admire is his endurance. I mean, the guy stays on the field for pretty much every single snap, which is very, very rare for a player at his position. Now, Mark Davis did recently say it's just not happening. I don't know if he was talking about dealing Maxx Crosby or going to an actual hairdresser, but he said it's not happening, which surface level makes it sound like, all right, open and shut case here. Maxx Crosby is not getting traded. Well, like I said, we thought the same thing about OBJ, and then he got traded. But then Maxx Crosby spoke to reporters after Devonte Adams got dealt. And one part of it really jumped out to me. But I'll share the whole quote with you. I'm not here to rebuild. Well, you are. I'm here to win. Well, you're not winning. So I don't know. Whatever that means, but yeah, I'm here to win now. And wherever I'm going to be here to win. So that's all that matters to me. One line from that really jumped out to me was, wherever I'm going to be. Maybe that's just a slip of the tongue, right? A lot of times we really nitpick every single letter and every single word these guys say when they're at their locker room, at their locker after practice. But for me, I wonder if Crosby is not 100% convinced that he wants to be a Raider. And if a trade offer came to Las Vegas that was more than fair, and they approached Crosby about getting dealt to a contending team, if all three parties would be on board with a potential trade, right? Maybe Crosby is looking at Devonte Adams, who appears to be having a great time in New Jersey before he even plays it down with his old buddy Aaron Rodgers, and goes to himself, well, why does the best player in our offense get dealt to a team that has better playoff hopes than we do? But I'm stuck here for another losing season in Las Vegas. Doesn't seem fair to me that Adams gets to go, but I'm stuck here. Just wonder if a little bit of jealousy creeps into Max a little bit. So some background information, if you don't know much about Crosby. It's one of the better stories in the NFL draft. I mean, a fourth-round pick out of a Maxian school, and he's now one of the best pass rushers in all of football. He's not just a pass rusher. He is an excellent run stopper as well. Back-to-back seasons of leading the NFL in tackles for loss. He has a decent contract, of course, 4-year, $94 million, that has 2 more years beyond this season on it. So if you're acquiring Crosby, you are also acquiring a pretty hefty contract. So you'll have to have some level of room on your books for that in the future. But the cap is a myth. You can always make it happen. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. It's a major long shot. I don't think it even has like a 10% chance of happening, but we do see some long shots happen in the NFL from time to time. So I do think it's at least for the Falcons worth picking up the phone and calling, especially after this Sunday if the pass rush continues to put up a stinker. And after 7 weeks, as we approach the halfway mark of the season, the Falcons still rank dead last in sacks, then yeah, some action should be taken, because at 7 weeks, you should have a pretty good idea as to what you have on your team. And what they don't have is a true pass rusher. So here is what I think a trade could look like. The Falcons get Crosby, the Raiders get 2 first-round draft picks and a future second. It's hefty, don't get me wrong, but that's the price of doing business. If you want to cut the line and not try and find a hidden gem in the draft like the Raiders did in round 4, this is what it is going to cost you, which, listen, don't get me wrong, that's a steep price, but if it results in a Super Bowl for this year, no one's going to care. Go ask the Rams about it. All those F them picks moves were worth it once they had a parade. Now, the hope though is those first two round draft picks, those two first round draft picks are hopefully late in round one. And that's going to soften the blow a lot because I want you guys to look at the edge rushers that have been picked in the last 8 selections of round number 1 from 2022 to 2017. It's too early to grade the 2013 draft class. But just look at the names here. How many of them really jump out to you as like top-tier pass rushers? TJ Watt, without a doubt. Montez Sweat, a little bit. But outside of that, you've got some duds. LJ Collier, Tack McKinley, Taco Charlton, Joe Tyrone, I don't even know what the last name is. Like Payon Turner. You got some good selections like George Karlaftis, Odafe Oweh, Gregory Rousseau a little bit. But the point I'm trying to make here is don't act like the end of round 1 is a guarantee for a surefire pass rusher. There are more misses than makes in this part of the draft when it comes to pass rushers. So getting a proven commodity instead of a lottery pick, which that is what NFL draft picks are. They are lottery picks. Some have better chances of winning than others. I like the proven commodity more than your average Joe does. So would you do this trade? Give me an A for accept or a D for decline in the comment section below. I want to hear from everyone watching. Now, next up on the show, we're going to talk about a potential Myles Garrett trade, another home run type of selection if Atlanta wants to go down that path. Before we do talk about 95, I do want to fill everyone in on our wonderful sponsor, Prize Picks. You see, Prize Picks is America's #1 daily fantasy sports app with over 10 million active members, where all you do is pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections and then watch the winnings roll in. Now, if you want some extra rooting interest while watching Thursday Night Football tonight, here are my selections for the game. I'm taking the more on Courtland Sutton at half a touchdown. He's had 2 in the last 3 weeks. Also like the more on Javonte Williams at 39.5 rushing yards. And finally, I like the less on Spencer Rattler's rushing yards simply because I think he's going to get rattled. No pun intended. So download the Prize Picks app today and use code CLNS and get $50 instantly when you play $5. That's code CLNS on Prize Picks to get $50 instantly when you play $5. I put all that information in the comments and description of today's video. Download the app today and get $50 instantly once you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. Run your game. Now, the Browns, like the Raiders, also traded away their star wide receiver, Amari Cooper, which definitely signals they are in sell mode. Now, there are degrees to sell mode. I do not believe the Browns are at the stage of everyone is open for business and give us a phone call and we can negotiate for all 53 players. No, I think Amari Cooper is in a different category than guys like Myles Garrett because Cooper's on the final year of his contract. He is 30 years old, and he is not the greatest player in franchise history. I do not believe Myles Garrett is going to get traded. I don't think he's going to get traded to the Falcons. I don't think he's going to get traded anywhere. I believe the Browns are going to hold on to Garrett and that there might be other players that could be available for trade, like his running mate, Zadarius Smith, on the other side of the defensive line, a corner like Greg Newsome potentially, a tight end like David Njoku. Those are guys that I think could possibly get traded. Garrett is not getting traded. But if you want to hold on to hope, we can at least discuss the very, 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 very slim remote chance that the reigning NFL Defensive Player of the Year does get dealt, which that alone sounds like something that would never have happened before, but Khalil Mack and the Raiders would say otherwise. So what would a trade even look like? This is my best stab at it, and it's probably not enough. You get Garrett for a first and a second round draft pick in 2025, and a first and a fourth round draft pick in 2026. And that alone, the Browns probably say no to because they didn't get Myles Garrett with pick 26 or 27. They got Garrett with pick #1 overall. And if they're going to trade away Garrett, they're going to want to use this compensation to try and replace him. They're not going to get another Myles Garrett with one of these picks right here. And that gets lost on people when we look at trades. If they are trading away a star player, they are going to want to use these assets to replace said star player. Can they accomplish that? Absolutely not. I do not believe so. But there's no doubt that both of these players would be blockbuster trades for the Falcons or anyone else for that matter. I mean, go back to since Crosby joined the league in 2019, and they are two of the top 5 players, without a doubt, at their respective position group. So, Garrett and Crosby, they are, long shots. They are dreams that are very, very far away, but who knows? This is the NFL. Crazy stuff does happen. I don't believe we're going to get an Adam Schefter notification saying a stunner, Maxx Crosby or Myles Garrett has been traded, but we have seen some crazy things go down before, so why not, live in this world for a second. So pick a player that you would want to trade for, Crosby or Garrett. Let me know in the comment section below. Once again, it's a pipe dream, but like I said, this is the NFL. A lot of crazy things happen when we get towards the NFL trade deadline. I mean, you can kind of just go a little bit of like year by year or team by team, and there's always one or two very surprising trades that happen. I don't think these two guys are going to be one of those two surprising trades, but if you want to dream, here are some dreams. Now, before we sign off, I do want to give some quick shout-outs here to the Dirty Birds Club. Jose Santana, Ken Ballard, Trey1222, Jason Lindino, Reese Atkins, Archangel, Angry Liquid, Jeebus H. Christ, Dictator JC, JT, Jordan C. Jonza, Ronan Tyrell, and Lord Buddy Bear. Thank you guys so much for supporting the channel. If you want to get added to the Dirty Birds Club, $100 super chat during our watch parties, and we'll toss your name on screen. All right, that's going to do it for us on today's episode. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. If you enjoy our content, make sure to like the video before you leave.